Welcome back to It Resolves, where we play a new deck every single day. Today's deck is Grixis Control. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Here at It Resolves, we love to have fun, play new decks, and hopefully learn something new along the way. I think I got that order correct. Anyway, today we are playing some Grixis Control, guys. Funny enough, a deck that I haven't really played for a little while, but obviously is very, very good for a variety of reasons. It gets a lot of the removal spells that are really, really high-end in the format. It also just gets a lot of big, powerful stuff that can accrue value over time, which we'll kind of talk about as we go through. Before we go through this, guys, if playing new decks every day and just having some fun sounds like your cup of tea, if you don't mind, just go ahead and drop a little subscribe down there. It really would help us out quite a lot. If you don't enjoy it, that's okay too. You can unsubscribe or you can leave. It's fine. Either way, we just appreciate you guys checking us out. But let's talk about the deck a little bit. So obviously a pretty straightforward Grixis Control list. The idea is we're going to control our way towards the mid to late game using cards like Cut Down, maybe a Make Disappear to counter some of the early game stuff or threats that might come down. We do have Go for the Throat here as well. Probably my favorite removal spell right now. I just find this to be a very, very lucrative one. We do have a Braid in here, which does kind of counteract that Go for the Throat, right? So destroy target non-artifact creature, and then a Braid actually kills the artifact, which is just a nice balance. Obviously, going down to 2 on the Abrades, I think, is the right call. This deck, by the way, was taken from MTG Melee, so you will be able to check that out down below. And, of course, just dealing 3 damage to any creature here makes this a little bit more flexible as well. Blood Tithe Harvester and Reckoner Bankbuster, obviously, both playing a little bit different roles. Blood Tithe Harvester just being a nice little 3/2 for 2. Excuse me, that does give us that blood token that we can either use to, basically remove a creature with the Blood Tithe Harvester's ability, or we can use it later on to draw a card, or both. Technically, we can technically do that. Reckoner Bankbuster is here to allow us to draw some more cards as well, so definitely more of a pinch card, but it does give us the ability to just kind of throw 2 mana into something, maybe leave up a removal spell. If the opponent doesn't play anything we want to remove, it gives us that opportunity. To continue that card draw theme, we do have Corpse Appraiser. This is going to come in, hopefully exile a creature card from any graveyard, which is helpful because there are a lot of things we're going to want to remove from the opponent's graveyard, most likely, and then allows us to maybe put one of the top 3 cards into our hand, which is great. Fable of the Mirror Breaker, obviously a tried and true classic. We know what this card does for good reason. It's very, very powerful. Urtai Resurrected, just sitting here as a 1-of, gives us the ability to counter an activated ability, spell, or triggered ability. It does allow the opponent to draw a card, of course, but it does help us out a little bit there. And then, I should say, you can destroy another creature or planeswalker, and again, the opponent does get to draw a card in that instance. But regardless, this is a very versatile, again, very flexible spell. At flash speed, it does allow us a blocker as well, so there's a lot of benefit to this. And then finally, we get to the big payoffs, which are Shieldred, which is obviously one of the biggest in terms of creatures for the deck. Allowing us to gain a little bit of life every time we draw a card, which is obviously pretty easy for us to do, and then allows us to also tax the draw on the opponent's side by dealing 2 to them every single time. That definitely taxes the Urtai Resurrected on the opponent's side, so if we already have Shieldred out and we get Urtai out, that actually, if they only have 2 life left, that could be a game winner, right? So it does give us some little minor opportunities for those kinds of things. And then finally, we have Invoke Despair as the full 4 Gambit. Not always a full 4 from my understanding, but in this version of the deck, I think it does make quite a bit of sense. This is obviously a huge, huge payoff for any Grixis deck, Mono Black deck, Rakdos deck. It's basically just a ridiculous card. It is really helpful to have Fable in this one because this does allow us to easily kind of get those colored, the black mana that we need for the Invoke Despair. You can tell from the actual land base that we did go pretty heavy on black sources first and foremost. The only 2 non-black sources would be the Force Shivan Reef and then of course the Otawara, and that's it. That's really it. You do get a full sideboard again because this is taken from Melee. This is actually a tournament deck, so this is somebody who put together a full sideboard for you. So you can actually check out the sideboard if you want to use this in best of 3. You certainly can. And just out of curiosity, yeah, we have 26 land in the deck, which does make sense, right? right? So one of the things that I think does get, if you happen to be a new player trying out a control deck or trying to build a control deck for the first time, it's really easy to get stuck into that 24 land slot. Most people, especially on Arena, because it kind of auto generates 24 lands for you, a lot of people just stick with that, which is fine. But do keep in mind, for a control deck, hitting every single land drop every single turn is more important almost than any other deck. Sometimes combo, of course, can change that, but control decks in particular need every single mana they can get because they're trying to leave up as much as possible to deal with the opponent's threats and pressure at the same time. And so hitting a land drop every turn is very important. That does usually mean you up that land count, above that 24. Up to 26 is usually kind of the max, in my opinion, but that's definitely just something to keep in mind, and so I wanted to point that out in case you happen to be a new player or building a control deck for the first time. I do think that's an important thing to recognize. But all that to say, guys, we are going to jump right into the gameplay. I'm not sure how many we will get in today, but we will do our best, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Again, thank you so much for watching, and let's see what we can do. All right, everybody, and here we are for game number 1. This is a bit of an interesting hand. I just talked about how important it is to get lands. Obviously, we do maximize the opportunity to get lands by just having a lot in the deck, but this is definitely a little bit tricky. I think I'm gonna mulligan, just from the sense of I'd rather make sure that we've got all of our colors and things like that kind of right off the bat. I think in this instance we can throw this one back. We do have three lands here, which plays everything in our hand, which is important. We don't have removal. Well, now we do. All right, cool. Problem solving. I'm just gonna go ahead and play that Blood Tithe Harvester. One thing to keep in mind is if it does die to any removal spell on the opponent's side, that just opens up that Corpse Appraiser opportunity. And so I think it's okay if we just run that out. Looks like Esper Raffine is probably what we are going to be up against here, which is a bit of a frustrating deck for sure, but we should be able to kind of deal with some things. So one thing this deck doesn't necessarily have are sweepers. It makes up for that certainly with the addition of the Invoke Despairs, but that is just something to consider. I'm gonna leave up the cut down here in case they do have, you know, play Raffine or something weird like that. We can cut down next turn, I guess, because it does have the ward cost. We will see. One thing too, a lot of pain lands obviously in the format right now. And if you don't have a way to gain a lot of life back, you could certainly lose a lot of momentum in that transaction. So one of the things that this deck does quite well with Sheoldred in the build is help us out in that regard and give us the opportunity of, hey, you know, we can gain some life back with our draws, so it's okay to take a little bit of hit from these pain lands. As long as you don't go too far with it, you should be okay. Here, the plan is most likely to draw off of Reckoner Bankbuster and then leave up that cut down. They discarded, a Make Disappear to draw further. That makes sense. Also worth noting, the reason I didn't suit up the Reckoner Bankbuster is because we want to draw with the Bankbuster and actually fill up our hand a little bit. So that's kind of priority 1 right now for us. So let's go ahead and do that now. See what we draw. A land is fine. I'm just gonna take that. That's good. All right, so the question is, do we think they have a Make Disappear, really? Obviously, that's a possibility. I think first things first, we are just going to attack and see if they play any removal spells. They certainly might. They are taking 3 a turn. I mean, at this point, if they take this hit, that's 9 damage just from a Blood Tithe Harvester. That's a pretty significant amount, right? Like, that's not unreasonable. Okay, this is kind of great. So they exile this, which is fine because now we get to Invoke Despair. The only thing they could have is, of course, a Spell Pierce, I think, which is obviously not ideal, but I think we just go for it and give it the best shot we can. Yeah, there we go. And we drew another Invoke Despair. That's really, really good. We're able to get that Wandering Emperor off the field before it even becomes a problem, really. The only downside, of course, being that they did exile the Blood Tithe Harvester, which just makes that Corpse Appraiser a little bit worse. But that's fine. And this is, again, kind of great. We have another Invoke Despair to run out here, so I really hope they just minus it. Give themselves, they are not going to. I was hoping they would just give themselves that extra creature, but I'm glad they didn't. Or I wish they had, but that's okay. This is still nice because now we just get to draw an extra card too, so that's gonna go down. Fantastic. And we do have this. I'm of course just gonna leave up the cut down in case they have a creature. We've now refilled our hand quite well at this point, right? So we've got quite a bit of removal. We do have a Corpse Appraiser, which can come down at some point if we need to. Okay. That's very good. I haven't actually seen Union of the Third Path played in quite some time. I'm also wondering why they didn't play that later. I guess they gained more life that way. I don't know. Seems a little odd, but that's fine. Okay, well, again, unfortunately, we really don't have a creature to hit here, but I do think we just run out the Corpse Appraiser. If nothing else, it does suit up the Bank Buster here, which is kind of nice. And they may have a counter, they may have whatever, that's fine. We do have a Make Disappear we can counter back if we want. But this obviously is not going to hit any creatures, which sucks, but that's fine. Good news is they can't just cut down the Corpse Appraiser. They would have to like go for the throat or something along those lines, which could be very helpful for us. So we'll see. Maybe they've got a removal spell now, in which case it's kind of fine. We'll see. I think we just deal max damage to them at the moment and hope for the best. We don't need to draw too many extra cards at the moment, so I'm not worried about activating that Bank Buster. I think I just counter this, funny enough. I think we just don't want them to have extra cards right now, and they were about to draw a handful, so that just gives us, you know, less things to have to worry about, essentially, which I do think is important. I'm gonna play the Shivan Reef. That just opens up the Go for the Throat play, which, you know, yeah, we have to take a damage for, but it hits more as well, and so I do think that's probably an important distinction to make. Alternatively, we would have just played Xander's Lounge, in which case we would really only have Cut Down available, and if they do have a Rafine, we couldn't use it, and so I feel like this is probably the safer play, just regardless of what we do. I assume the opponent's gonna kill this. Yeah, that's fine. Part of what we could have done there is just used Go for the Throat on our own creature so they wouldn't have gained 3 life, but I don't actually think we want to do that. What I'm gonna do is discard, I think, the Xander's Lounge to draw a card here. At this point, we really just need a finisher, right? So like, they're not doing too much, which is helpful. But we're also not doing a lot, so let's go ahead and draw another card. Maybe a Sheoldred or another Invoke would be good. We can cycle that. And I will go ahead and cycle it. There's not really a huge reason not to. Man, this is the downside to a control list. Sometimes you just hit a pocket of lands, man. It happens. It's all good. We still have a lot of interaction, so any threats that they play, aside from Planeswalkers, which, I'll be honest, does seem to be their kind of big, it seems like an Esper Super Friends list. That is going to be, excuse me, a little tricky for us, but I think overall we should be okay. We'll see. We will see. I do really love this Grixis list. It's been fun. I only played a couple games with it, just, again, to wrap my head around it. For those of you who don't know, or maybe you're new here, one of the kind of methodology that I use for these kinds of things is, in particular, I like to play a deck at least a couple times before I show you guys the deck. The only reason I do that is not to like jip you out of a couple games or anything. It's more just like, if I do something silly, like I need to learn from that before I like say, hey, this is how you play the deck, right? Like, I don't know how to play it perfectly until I've played it, and so while I'm never gonna play it 100% perfectly, it does kind of help me get closer. So that's just, you know, my take on it. It just makes it a little bit better, hopefully content-wise for you guys. But I did play just a couple, and it was a blast. It was a really fun build, and I got a lot of good stuff out of it, so it was fun. Again, hitting a lot of lands here. They did have a Dissipate, and I do anticipate them most likely having an Urza here, which is scary. So this is the Esper build that we played, I believe, not too long ago. At least similar. I think John sent it over to me. Let's see what they got. I really like this guy more than I like my guy. Their guy's cooler. Look at this guy. He's sick. Another Mightstone and Weakstone. Okay, so I'm assuming they're just gonna like -5 on the on this guy. Or maybe they just draw 2. Wow, they do. I would love it a Braid. That would be super helpful. A Braid would just give us the opportunity to straight kill the Mightstone and Weakstones, so like there's not a lot they can do. They might just have more Dissipates though, so we do have to anticipate the Dissipate. Anticipate the Dissipate. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. We should start cycling away some of these because we obviously understand that they're probably not going to really get used. I think there's very few opportunities for us to go for the throat or cut down anything in their deck. They are at 32. We're not going to deck them. There's the Abrade. That's helpful. They do have a blue source available. They have 2 blue sources available, but I do think we at least try. I don't really think they're... I mean, if they have a Dissipate, they have a Dissipate, right? Like, that's fine. But I think we go for it. Awesome. I just don't want to give them the opportunity, you know? Unfortunately, we can't draw anymore with the Bank Buster, and we don't have another threat, so that feels bad. But they also are in a bit of a do-nothing position. Like, we've killed... They discarded a Teferi, we killed a Teferi plus a Wandering Emperor, and we've gotten 2 Mightstone and Weakstones. I mean, they killed their own, but they've got Mightstones and Weakstones in the graveyard, so, like, and they didn't play anything this turn, really, so... I'm anticipating they just don't have a lot, which is great. We, unfortunately, also don't have a lot, because we're drawing a lot of these... That 26 land count that I just told you guys about. But, you know, it happens. It definitely happens. There's Urza. We were waiting for him. Alright. Now we go for the throat. Let's see if they have a counter. Do it. Have a counter. Please have a counter. I've got plenty more. Alright, cool. Excellent. Oh my gosh. All of the removal. I mean, we do know, like, again, guys, we know we have a lot of removal. We know we have a lot of lands, so this isn't unsurprising. I was hoping, of course, for, like, a Shieldred, but we just haven't gotten there, and that's fine. We just have to keep it in mind that those are the cards we're looking for. Another Invoke Despair would be amazing. It would refill our hand. We'd have plenty of mana to kind of bounce back with, and we've only played 2 so far. We're almost halfway through the deck, and we've really only gotten this far. I think we saved this for the Mightstone Weakstone. I think that's a much more, like, important play than the Celestis, albeit this is gaining them life. But, like, if the game goes on as is and just nothing happens, they lose faster because they're drawing more cards. So we do have just the out of, like, eventually we deck them. I said we weren't going to deck them. They're at, I mean, 23 cards. I'm not saying it's, like, close, but it's not impossible at this point, given we just checked a couple turns ago and they were at, like, 32. So we'll see. And they're drawing quite a lot. They can gain all the life they want. That's perfectly fine. Shieldred would have been so good to tax all of these draws. It would have negated this almost entirely. I'll take the Fable. It's a card that we can cycle away some of these cut downs because truthfully they're not going to do anything. The only creature we really need to hit is Urza, and they obviously don't. So that seems useful-ish. We can't activate Reckoner Bankbuster with it, but that's fine. They did not remove it this turn, albeit I don't know that they have... Oh, no, they do. Parasitic Grasp is instant speed. I was going to say, that's interesting they didn't remove it. That's fine. Draw all the cards you want, my friend. Draw more cards. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. All right, excellent. Let's get rid of... I think to be safe, we'll get rid of a land and a cut down. I think that's fine, right? This is quite nice. So we can Corpse Appraiser. If this gets countered, it gets countered. But it looks like it's not going to. Let's exile that Urza for sure. And then we get to pick another card from the top of our deck. Sure. Should have suited up. Missed it. Missed the trigger. That was entirely my fault, but that's okay. That does still get exiled, so that's helpful. At the very least, that's a step in the right direction. It's Blood Tithe Harvester. This can suit up the Reckoner Bankbuster, so we kind of got a little lucky. But definitely missed that opportunity for sure. And we have a blood token now, so if we want to cycle it away, we certainly could. I'm curious if they have a removal spell for the Bankbuster. Very curious. Let's see. What you got? Oh, perfect. We can draw a card off of that. That's fine. So we still get an attack for 2 in. It's not a lot, but it's something. We get to pop the Clue token, which we will, I think, after. Let's do that now. There's no sense to wait, really. Like, we don't have any major taxing spells at this point, so that's fine. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I really don't think we're gonna need a cut down. Given the deck we are against, I really doubt that that's gonna be a thing. Let's Corpse Appraiser again. Let's just build up the board and anticipate them having probably a sweeper or 2 in the deck, which is fine. Actually think it's Make Disappear. That's kind of a weird pick, but I kind of like it. Because they've got so much mana, there's not a whole lot of reason to do this, but I think maybe it was the Abandoned Mire was the better pick, but this is fine. It doesn't matter. Excuse me. Gotta have that coffee. Guys, we only are gonna get 1 game in today, I think. We did that yesterday, too. These games keep going long. I'm fine with it, because I think they're great games. Like, this is a good game. I mean, they're beating us in life total, but they're decking themselves slowly, and we're able to remove most of what they do. Whereas, like, we're gonna start threatening them, I think, pretty reasonably here. They might have a Wandering Emperor, which is fine. I don't particularly care that much. What an interesting game. To me, this is like... This is what you hope for, you know what I mean? Awesome. All right. Cool. I mean, we just, the game plan right now is super simple. We just attack in and start offsetting some of this damage that, or this life gain that they've got going on. Maybe they don't have a Wandering Emperor. That would be helpful. I'm playing the land because, like, we've got enough cards. Oh, they do have a Wandering Emperor. Why did they let this happen? That seems sketchy, but okay. I'm not all that concerned about this. They can remove whichever of these they want. Wow, they plussed it. Why did they plus it? Seriously? Opponent playing a little odd. I feel like maybe you were just supposed to exile something. Unless they just have a sweeper. They do. Haha, called it. Do I care? I mean, I do. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So they can pay for it. So in that scenario, we just don't do anything. Do draw a card, so that's cool. Guess what? It's a land. They're at 17. We are at 19. This is actually getting kind of closer than we need it to get. Do I go for the Throat Bat? I don't think yet. I think if we draw an Invoke Despair, the problem solves itself, so like I'm not overly concerned about that. All right. Helpful-ish. I will probably, if they don't counter this, I will most likely go ahead and pop that blood token. Get rid of a Make Disappear. I think that was the wrong call for sure. Let's just start to rebuild as best we can. Go ahead and create the 2/2. We'll drop a lands. Yeah. I don't want to kill the Celestis because it's slowly killing them. So that's like part of this weird, like, do we go on the life game or the life kill, or do we go with the just decking? Because like at this point, they're just decking themselves. You know what I mean? Like, that seems pretty good. Cool. That's gonna eat a go for the throat for sure. Curious to see if they have a Might Stone and Weak Stone in their hand. I doubt it, but let's go ahead and go for the throat here. They haven't played counter magic like at all, so I mean, they played a Dissipate, but that's kind of it. And this deck doesn't run a ton of counters. Okay, yeah. That's cool. So curious as to how this is actually going to play out. I don't know if I want to use the Abrade. They are going to attack. I think I don't block yet. And again, I think we can wait. We've got so much mana, we don't have to pull the trigger on the Abrade yet. Like, that's kind of the important thing. Oh, thank God. Oh, we got a Shieldred. Okay. We're going to discard and make disappear. I actually don't want to discard too many cards because, again, we want to stay behind them on that end of things. Let's do this. I'm going to deal 3 damage to this, I guess. Because I do want to kill the Wandering Emperor here, but, like, I think that's pretty important. So this is like a potentially counterable spell, which is why I'm doing this first, because I want them to either counter this or not have a counter for the Shieldred. That seems more important to me. So now what we're gonna do first is just attack the Wandering Emperor with both. Anticipating that they may just have a removal spell and be able to trade, and that's fine. Or they might just have another Wandering Emperor, both of which are fine. Yep, they have a removal spell. Totally cool. I'm assuming they just block. Great. But again, we ate a removal spell at the very least, so hopefully they don't have too many more, and now we're not in the clear, but like a little bit better off, potentially. No, they had a Dissipate. Okay, fair enough. This is turning into quite a game. Like, I already said it was, but this is amazing. Excuse me, burped a little bit there. All right, we are definitely on the back foot now. That's helpful. That's like super helpful, actually. Yeah, let's go for that. Hopefully they don't have Urza to flip. That's what I'm worried about. Like, if they have a Might Stone, Weak Stone, we are in bad shape. All right, here we go. If they can't kill Shieldred, we might be okay. Again, that's the biggest worry. They don't have a counter spell. They definitely would have countered the Shieldred if they could. Wow, they activated it just to draw and discard. Again, every card they draw is getting them closer to dying. I don't know if this is going to come down to life totals. I really don't know. It might. It very easily could. I mean, that's 12 cards is plenty of cards to get to, you know, 16 damage as an example, but I don't know. This is a tricky one. Especially if Shieldred sits on the field for even just a turn or two. Like, theoretically, if we're drawing a lot of cards. Oh, man. Okay, well, they sacrificed their own Urza, so that makes me actually feel a little bit better. I'm curious to see if they sack the Wandering Emperor just to get a 2/2 so they can start to try and finish off the game. They had the Might Stone. Oh my gosh. Draw 2. Yes. Get closer to dying. Please don't have an Urza though. They've killed, so we've killed, what, 3 of the Urzas at the very least? Yeah, 3 of the Urzas are gone. That's super helpful. I will just pop this so we can just draw as much as we can and kill that. And we've got to go for the throat again. What a weird scenario we are in, guys. Man, this is astounding. Great. Also great. We're just gonna straight kill that for sure. This is amazing. This deck has been phenomenally interesting. I'm gonna just try and go for the throat now. They can draw at sorcery speed, right? Yeah. So I'm just gonna kill that. It's the only reason go for the throat's helpful, I think, is to kill the 2/2 or the Wandering Emperor 2/2, I guess. All right, guys, we're just in protect until they die territory at this point. Like, that's kind of all we need to do. Wow, such a good game, such a great game. All right, cool. Yeah, dude, you got it. You got it. Can we fade 7 cards? Okay. Exile all graveyards. Wow. That was a big move, actually. Yeah. Just gonna kill it. I'm not risking damage at this point, right? So every kill we get now is just an easy kill later. Oh, yes. Or a protection spell, essentially. Come on, don't have a counter. Don't have a counter. Yes. Yes. Guys. Oh, this is so stressful. This is such a stressful game. Oh my gosh, they have Vanquish. Okay, fine. This is such a crazy game. They're at 6, we're at 7. Oh, Reckoner Bankbuster's a bit tricky, isn't it? That's a little tricky. I don't think we activate it unless we have to. They're at 5, we're at 7. So we technically could draw 1 card and be still in the right position. They have 5 cards left in their deck. Oh, I really want to deck them. I really want to deck them. Please just deck yourself. All right, we'll try it once. I really want to deck them. Okay, that's fine. Honestly, it spits out a creature, and like as long as we can block, that's fine. All right, let's do this. Have a counter spell. I really don't care that much right now. Let's get Blood Tithe Harvester out. We can suit up the Reckoner Bankbuster, which I think is the better play. And I actually don't know what we try to kill. It might be the Wandering Emperor. I kind of want them to use the Teferi to draw cards, right? Awesome. Let's crew it. We're gonna at least get 1 attack in. Or attempt to get 1 attack in. They lose 2 life out of this deal as well, which isn't super relevant, I don't think, anymore, but that is, you know, worth noting. I think we go for the Wandering Emperor kill. Everything that they block with is less damage they're getting through. So we're just trying to keep the damage down to as low as a number as we can, so we're not dying. That's fine. If they attack with the 3, we just take the 3, I think. 3 damage is not a problem. It's gonna get bigger and bigger as the game goes longer. Even if it's 4, I think we just take it. They're not gonna get to 16 cards at instant speed. Even with the scrutiny, they can't play that at instant speed unless it's 3 or less. So we just take it. They have 4 cards, man. 4 cards. This is such a good game. Oh my gosh. All right. This has also gone on for such a long time. I just checked the time and I'm like, wow. They killed the Teferi. Wow. Okay, so they know drawing cards is not a good idea. I'm assuming they decline. They have to decline, right? Like, yeah. That's terrible. We're at 4, they're at 4, so we also have to decline. No attacks. End turn. We just have to, like, not die. That's all we have to do. Come on. Give me, like, another creature. We know we have Invoke Despairs in here. We kind of don't want them now. I think all the Shieldreds are dead. Yep. This is such a weird game. Okay. I think we're gonna lose, guys. I really do. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, we can't let all that come through because they could draw at instant speed and then we die. If they have like a Silver Scrutiny, they could have won there. Well, no, they would have decked themselves. I don't know, man. This is such a... I think we're gonna lose. I don't want to lose this game. This is such a good game, but I don't want to lose it. I think we're going to, but I don't want to. If we can get like another creature on the battlefield, we might be okay. Might be okay. My turn. Give me a creature. Ooh. Really? Really? It's not the card we want right now. It's really not the card we want right now. So it would get rid of the Wandering Emperor and probably this. But obviously these two are more than enough. And then that also puts us behind on that. Oh, that sucks. I mean, we knew Invoke Despair was at least like, what, 2 of the cards? So I think we just die. I think we just die. I think we probably should have just done that, but again, it really isn't gonna matter, I don't think. Like, we couldn't deal 13 damage in that time. We would have dealt 2 that turn, so gotten them down to 11, and then we would have had maybe 1 turn left, and we would have killed ourselves with the following Invoke Despairs, so there was no way. Dang. Guys, this was a killer one. I am pretty stoked about this game, though. I think we actually pulled the trigger on this. This sucks, but I think we do. Just in case. This is a really silly move, but it does technically work. It buys us a turn, but now they are still, you know, they're ahead now, right? Ugh, that feels so bad. That feels really, really bad. Sad day. I have to play this out though, guys. I have to play this out. This has been such a good game. They earned the win. And even if that means we deck ourselves, that means we deck ourselves. I'm good with it. They 100% deserve to actually play this one out. Well played, opponent. All of these cards giving me hope. Actually, wait, does this give me hope? Oh no. Okay, so we pass, and if they have a counter spell, we might lose. So we let them attack. Let's go into full control. Auto pay. Resolve. Just want to make sure. Please don't have a counter spell. If they have a counter spell. If they don't have a counter spell, we can win it. No. Are you serious? Okay. So we destroy this one. No. Please tell me this works. I will be so stoked if this works. Oh my goodness. Even if they kill this, we crew up the Reckoner Bankbuster. Just to be clear, this already hit the battlefield, so this is going to happen unless they have a countered triggered ability, in which case they would have to have their own Urtai. Which I don't think, like I think they would have already, well, no, they couldn't have necessarily played. I can't believe this. If this pans out, they're really trying. Can go out of full control now. Resolve. That dies. They draw a card. No way. Oh my gosh. If they have a removal spell for Bankbuster, we still... No, they don't. Oh, no. Don't misclick. Oh my god, don't misclick. This might be my greatest game in history if this works. Can they deal 3 damage to us is like all we need to know. Oh my gosh. This is so stressful. I'm just passing. I'm just passing. Yes! Oh my god! Guys! Oh my god. That was an amazing game. Okay, if you don't like this video, you are ridiculous. This is amazing. All right, we gotta wrap this up. This has gone on way too long. Let's wrap it up really quickly. Okay, look. Guys, if you didn't enjoy that game, I don't know what the heck is wrong with you. That was the most back and forth game I think I have seen in quite some time. We decked the opponent with an Urtai. I forgot we even had Urtai. We only have it as a 1-of. That was the perfect card. It was literally the perfect card. Okay, let's talk real stuff really quick. This deck is amazing. I do think it's safe to say that this deck, for the most part, has the tools that you will need to deal with most other decks. I think the things it's lacking most effectively is a sweeper, obviously, but it does make up for that by having a lot of point and shoot removal and then, of course, Invoke Despair. So you do have a lot of ways to kind of manage that. But you do have to be on top of it really, really quickly. And so I do think there's a little bit of like, it's not tempo necessarily, but you do have to be proactive with your removal if you're against a really aggressive deck like Mono Red or the Soldiers deck or anything like that. All that to say though, I do think Grixis Control, as most of us know, is a very solid deck. And so to see it in action and actually get to play it, especially in such an amazing game, really, really just makes you feel good. It makes you, I don't know, there's something to that. I love that deck. Oh my gosh. I can't get that out of my head. That was amazing. Guys, I just want to say, again, please like this video. Share it. Share it. Please share it. This is the video to share on the channel. I know we only got 1 game in, but it was one heck of a game. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you guys so much for sticking around for this one. I know there was a lot of back and forth. I can't believe we won it. That was insane. Thank you all so much for watching. I love you all very much. Have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys again, hopefully tomorrow.